So we want to talk about going to the next level. And I want to read to you from the Bible, from 1 John chapter 5, verses 1 through 5. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. And it says this: everyone who believes that Jesus is the Christ has been born of God, and everyone who loves the Father loves whoever has been born of him. By this we know that we love the children of God, when we love God and obey his commandments. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not burdensome. For everyone who has been born of God overcomes the world. And this is the victory that has overcome the world, our faith. Who is it that overcomes the world except the one who believes that Jesus is the Son of God? Now, I want to share with you, there's an important part here where it says children of God. And when they say children of God, they're not just talking about young kids. They're talking about everybody. Kids, teenagers, me, people in their 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s, 60s, 70s. We're all children of God. And what's interesting about being children of God is sometimes we have to learn how to accept and love one another. So it's like having a brother or a sister, or like having a brother or having a sister, right? You have to learn about them, right? You have to accept them for who they are. And then you have to learn to love them, right? And sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard. So sometimes when you think about it, when you have one brother or you have one sister, that's the only person in the world who you have who can help you and who can assist you and who can look out for you, right? Unless your mom has another baby, absolutely. But then that would be another brother or sister. So it's still the brothers and the sisters looking out for one another. And God says in the Bible that brothers and sisters are supposed to look out for one another, that you're supposed to take care of one another, that you're supposed to accept one another and love one another. And it says accept because each of us is different. So we like different things, we talk different ways, we like to watch different things on television, play different video games and games. But the Bible says we have to learn how to accept one another and love one another. So if one person gets in trouble, then as a sibling, as a brother or sister, you need to see if you can help in any way, right? Now the wonderful thing about this is that the way that we show that we love God is by obeying God's rules, right? Which is the same way to show how we love our parents, right? The way that we show we love our parents is to obey our parents' rules, right? So it's the same way. So the Bible says that it should not be burdensome, which means it shouldn't be hard. Because if you love your parents, and you know your parents love you, then all the things that they tell you and teach you to do are those things that are important to not only them, but important to God. So if we love God and we love our parents, then we should obey what they tell us to do. Now what's interesting about that is that in love, has the notion of obeying, right? And so when we love each other, then we listen to one another, right? And we obey each other's rules. So one of the rules that I have, I don't like people to get real close to me. When people talk to me, I like them to stand right here or right here. I don't like them to be breathing on me when we talk. That's one of my rules, right? So if a person really loves and respects me, then they'll follow that rule. And you all may have different rules yourselves that you know. And so people love you and accept you and appreciate you, then they will follow your rules too. And the last thing I want to share with you is that God would never allow things to happen to you that are too much for you to handle. So sometimes when things happen, God allows things to happen so that you go get help, right? You get help from God, you get help from your parents, you get help from your brother and your sister, right? You get help from your cousins or your family members, okay? From people who love you and who respect you. So it's important to understand that love is from God. And the way that we show God that we love God is to obey God's rules. The way we show our parents that we love them is to obey their rules. Does that make sense? can talk in all kinds of ways. So sometimes, when you're laying still and you hear the birds chirping, sometimes that's God talking. Or sometimes in your imagination, you can hear a voice, you can hear things. Sometimes that's God talking. Or if you go to the water, anybody ever been to the water? And you hear the waves, and the waves go whoosh. Sometimes that's God talking through the waves. Because God created everything. And so God can allow different things to talk.